The Out of Bounds Show podcast is presented by the premium cigars at Havana Smoke Shop. Visit their 2 locations, I-55 in Jackson and on the Res, for your premium cigar needs. Only at Havana Smoke Shop.
WRKS Pickens Jackson.
Are you ready?
Now live from the Whiskey 61 Lounge inside the Bank Plus studio.
Listening to
Mississippi's #1 sports talk show, The Out of Bounds Show with Bo Bounds. Streaming worldwide live on the Out of Bounds radio app and on your radio at ESPN 105.9. The Zone.
All right, good morning, good morning. Welcome in to the Out of Bounds Show, 105.9 The Zone, ESPN, brought to you by the Bone-In Ribeye and Four Roses Bourbon at Kessler Prime in the Renaissance. Visit KesslerPrime.com to make a reservation. We're streaming live on the Out of Bounds radio app. Twitter handle at BoBounds. Mississippi Ag text line is 601-885-3776. Our guests join us on the Modelo guest line. We welcome in Scott Foxhall. He is the pitching coach at Mississippi State. They are the national champions in baseball, coming off a heck of a run in Omaha. Scott, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Bo. I'm good. How are you guys doing?
Man, I'm doing well. Have you been grinning nonstop, smiling nonstop for the last, whatever it's been, 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks?
It's hard to wipe the smile off your face, but when we had 4th of July that weekend, we came back, and then I've kind of been on the road and recruiting ever since, so that'll knock you right back into reality.
I bet it will. I bet it will. Showcases and travel ball, you never know. So how long do you stay? Like, we monitor football a little bit more as far as recruiting dates. How much longer are y'all on the road, Scott?
We can be on the road for, I think, up until September 1st.
Okay.
But we'll get back when our guys come back to school and get them going for the fall semester. So I'll probably have another 2 weeks solid on the road here, and then maybe some trips here or there scattered after that. But this is the big stretch of the summer that we had a good excuse for missing the first part of it, but usually these are the 2 months that you're out all the time recruiting on the road.
National championship pitching coach Scott Foxhall on the Modelo guest line. You're listening Out of Bounds, ESPN 105.9 The Zone. All right, so you looked like a genius in the postseason because of the way y'all managed your rotation throughout the year. And I guess what I mean by that is, and we're hoping we get one more segment out of you depending on your flight because this is a short segment. But what I mean by that is you didn't really throw guys 100, 110, 120 pitches in February, March, April. Is that something that you and Lamonis just figured out over time? Y'all both been in the postseason. I mean, how did this approach and strategy come about, Coach?
Well, it came about because of our depth this year, and I don't think any coach during the season wants to overthrow their guys, but you have to make sure that you put a resume together that is going to get you into the postseason and have a chance to advance and do some special things in the postseason. So that's always the balance that you have to win games during the season. You have to win important games. You have to win series. And in the SEC, that's very hard to do. But we had a depth. We had a staff that had a lot of depth this year. So we felt like we could get important innings out of a lot of different guys and be able to save innings from our elite guys so that down the stretch they were able to really pitch as much as we needed them to, and we felt like they were fresh. So it was something we talked about before the season because we knew we had a lot of numbers on our pitching staff and a lot of talent on our pitching staff. But, it's as the season, as you work through the season, you see how that formula is working and you make adjustments to it. But we pretty much stuck to that philosophy that we were going to share the innings and spread them out during the season and not let anybody not any one person get too tired or fatigued. And it really worked out well because we had some dominant performances in the postseason, especially in Omaha.
He is Scott Foxhall, Mississippi State baseball. He joins us on the Modelo guest line coming off a national championship. So Will Bednar was really good during the season, Scott, but he was special during the postseason. So why did he ramp it up a gear? The Super Regional out in Omaha, he pitched 3 times. What made Will Bednar so special in the postseason, Coach?
Well, I think that he kept working all through the year. Some guys get complacent and say, it's the season and I can't make adjustments. I can't make changes during the season, and they shy away from that. Will did not shy away from it. He tried to learn all the way through the season, and he was still improving at the end. And he threw really well in the regional. And I think went 7 innings against Stanford and got the win. But in Super Regional, he really didn't throw well. He was out pretty quickly in that game, and they had his number. And he came to me after that Notre Dame game and said, I need to be better. I need to make some adjustments. What do you see? And we tweaked a couple of things. It was mostly his hard work. But he got himself really ready for Omaha and pitched well. It was mainly his fastball. We just need to make sure that his arm was fresh, like we've already talked about, but we needed to make sure that he was staying behind his fastball and he was getting the ride through the zone that had made him successful a lot of times during the season. He lost that a little bit in the Notre Dame. And he had a couple weekends like that during the season against Ole Miss. He didn't throw real well, and it was the same issue with his fastball movement. So we just made some tweaks to that, and it was really good rolling into Omaha.
Scott Foxhall, MSU Baseball on the Out of Bounds show and the Modelo guest line. Y'all also kind of pieced it together at times, even though you were deep. Were you surprised at how it played out as far as some of the starting? I mean, look at when you called Houston's name in Game 2, and y'all were able to piece it together with Houston and Preston Johnson. I mean, that was an unbelievable performance to get you to Game 3 in the National Championship Series. Talk a little bit about that.
It was. Those guys put us on their backs and got us into that Game 3. And really, Hootie had done that all year. I'm proud of him. He just signed with Angels a couple of days ago and to start his professional career. But we didn't have a great start in the regional final against Campbell, and we had to hand the ball off to Hootie in the first inning, and he went maybe 5 or 6 strong innings, and then he threw the Game 3 of the Super Regional against a tough Notre Dame team and got us off to a good start, and then our season's obviously on the line in that game against Vanderbilt where we're already down 1-0 in the series. So I'm really proud of him. He threw some important innings for us. And then obviously Preston came in on top of him. We had a plan, like again, talking about our depth, we had a plan that, hey, we would just keep passing the ball and keep handing it off to different guys, because a lot of times that's hard to hit when you're seeing a different guy each time through the lineup. But Hootie was good enough to go through it a couple of times, and then when we gave it to Preston, he didn't want to give it back to us, and he finished that game. And we knew if we could get through that game, then we had Will Bednar, who was hot, and he would be able to give us a really great start in Game 3.
Yeah, man, those 2 guys in Game 2 were special. Coach, I don't know if you have time for another 10-minute segment. I got to take a quick break.
Yeah, I do. I think I'm good.
Great.
I don't think my flight board's for a few minutes.
All right, great. Scott Foxhall, MSU Baseball on the Modelo guest line coming off a national championship. We will continue our discussion with Coach Foxhall. Coming up next on the Out of Bounds Show, brought to you by Thirsty Thursday at the Mississippi Braves ballpark. And they are in town Thursday through Sunday. And it's Thirsty Thursday tonight. We're giving away 4 more sets of 2 tickets, 8 total. And we're doing it via the Mississippi Ag text line, 601-885-3776. More with Scott Foxhall coming up next.
You're listening to the Out of Bounds Show podcast, presented by Independent Roofing Systems. If you want it done right the first time, visit Independent Roofing Systems today.
All right, good morning. Welcome in. The Out of Bounds Show is brought to you by the Mississippi Braves. Thirsty Thursday tonight. They're in town all weekend. All right, through Sunday, Atlanta Braves AA affiliate. And they have several top 10 prospects on the roster, and they're the hottest team in minor league baseball. So if you want to win a couple of tickets, text us on the Mississippi Ag text line, and we'll send you on out there for Thirsty Thursday. You can get a cold beer and some nachos and enjoy the game at a beautiful ballpark. We're visiting with Scott Foxhall, MSU baseball pitching coach. National champs this year. They beat Vanderbilt in the National Championship Series. He joins us on the Modelo guest line. Scott, Landon Sims, as far as his mentality and approach to the game, I mean, he's so talented and such a great pitcher. What's it like coaching him?
Way. That's what it's like coaching him. I tell him that he is the alpha male in our locker room. He wants the ball in big situations. He's a great teammate. He's always in the game when he's in the dugout and the bullpen and leading by example, and he's the same way in practice. He is just, if you drew up the perfect pitcher and the perfect player from a coach's perspective, it would be Landon Sims.
Man, what a talent. Okay, so when y'all get back and get together for fall ball, how will it work with you and Landon? Will y'all sit down and, I mean, there's talk that he may give it a go as a starter for y'all. You know, take us through that process, whether he stays in the pen or maybe he goes after one of the starting spots in your rotation.
Well, Landon's resting right now because he threw all those important innings down the stretch for us, and then he went to Team USA, and he just continued his run with Team USA and threw outstanding for them this summer. So he just got back to Starkville yesterday, and he's going to take some time off right now. But yes, when he gets back, we will sit down and talk about what we need to do. There'll probably be a lot of rest for Landon Sims in the fall. I don't need to evaluate Landon Sims too much. But really we trained him last year as a starter, Bo. He was, I know he finished games for us and people label him the closer, but he wasn't a traditional closer. He could come in and throw 3 innings and sometimes 4 innings.
Good point.
And we trained him as a starter at the beginning of the season last year, so that won't be new to him. It'll just be when the season starts, we'll figure out what the best role for him will be. But, when you talk about starters, you talk about being able to pitch off of your fastball. Landon can do that. You talk about maybe having a third pitch, and Landon has a good changeup. He just never had to throw it in his short stints the way we used him last year. So he has that third pitch, and then it's just training your body to handle the pitch load once every 7 days. And believe me when I tell you, Landon will not be out-trained by anyone. So he will train to do that. And so we'll talk about it, and he's like I said, he's the consummate team player. So we will figure out the best way for Mississippi State to win another national championship and how he can help us do that.
He is Scott Foxhall joining us on the Modelo guest line, talking about Mississippi State baseball coming off a national championship in Omaha. You're listening to ESPN 105.9 The Zone. Scott, talk to me about you and Lamonis and Gotro. You know, so many times staffs in college baseball are like they've been together for a long, long time. And y'all kind of got put together, in 2018/2019, I guess, for the 2019 season. It has obviously worked out. Back-to-back College World Series appearances, and you just won a national championship. Y'all seem to work well together. Walk us through what it's like as a staff, and I know Cheese is part of it and so on, but tell us about how it works and the chemistry and so on, Scott.
Well, I think that Lim he assembled his staff with familiarity in mind first. So I know you said we just got thrown together, but really we have a lot of strong personal relationships within our staff before we got to Mississippi State. I'd known Lim for 25 years. We played against each other. We coached against each other when we were in mid-major conferences together at the College of Charleston, the Citadel. And then I've known Jake for a long time. And I think Lim had known Jake. Maybe not, we didn't know him quite as well as we knew each other, but we knew him enough to know how special of a coach he was and how good of a person he was. And then, Cheese was recruited by Lim and then has been with Lim at every one of the last 3 stops that Lim's had in his coaching career. So they had a really good working relationship together. So he really built his staff on relationships first, and then trusted our baseball ability and our baseball coaching knowledge and experiences that we've had along the way. And it's really worked out. Like you said, the word chemistry, and that's big on our staff. I think we complement each other very well. Some of my weaknesses are other guys' strengths, and vice versa.
Yeah.
And we figured out a way that and Lim is a very good puppet master. He's very good with managing the staff and managing the team. So it's been a really good situation, obviously, up to this point.
Scott Foxhall on the Out of Bounds show. Scott, we got a couple of minutes here. What's it like? Look, I know you've been around big programs and big-time players at College of Charleston, Auburn, NC State, and other stops. But what's it like to coach at Mississippi State with that fan base in the stadium and so on?
It's very humbling, and it's I'm not a good enough wordsmith to put it into words, but it is so special. And to see how happy we made so many people is very humbling. Obviously, we're ecstatic for our team. We're ecstatic for our staff winning the national championship. But when we pull back into Starkville and see the throngs of people that came out, and just the smiles and the joy that was in that stadium that day for the celebration, and in our hotel lobby in Omaha and the stands in Omaha, just how many people love this program and support this program, and that we winning that championship made them so happy. It's very humbling, and it makes us want to go out and work hard and keep doing and keep winning for those people.
30 seconds. Can you believe 20,000 people showed up for a celebration and no game?
I cannot believe that. When I walked in that morning, and our sport administrator, Leah Beasley, said, "We're expecting this many people." And I said, "Come on, you cannot be serious." And she said, "No, I am." Then my brother's a little bit of a comedian. He said, "Of course that many people are coming." When I told him, he said, "Of course that many people are coming. Nobody in Mississippi has jobs anymore. They've been in Omaha for 2 weeks.
That's
they don't have
a
anything
great
else to
point. For our listeners, there's a great article in the Post and Courier on Scott Foxhall and Chris Lamonis, and it tells a great story about, how they met and so on. So it's really, really good. Hey, Scott, thanks so much. I know you're busy running the roads with recruiting. We appreciate your time today. Congratulations on the national championship.
Thank you both. Thanks for everything you do for our state and sports and Hell State.
Thanks, Scott. Scott Foxhall, MSU baseball on the Modelo guest line. And that's the guy who coached Will Bednar and Landon Sims, Houston Harding, Preston Johnson, Bristow, Cade Smith, bunch of dudes who did an unbelievable job throughout the season and made it happen in the regionals, super regionals, and in Omaha. That was funny, Blake, the being in Look, I felt the same way, and this is what we're supposed to do for a living. I kept questioning when I'd call home to Wendy. I'd be like, "I've been gone for 4 weeks." She goes, "This is what you do." I go, "Yeah, I know. It's weird." I mean, it's weird, but I want to thank our listeners. You stayed with us throughout June, and it was incredible. Maybe the biggest month we've ever had, but it was definitely the biggest June we've ever had. I'll have to look back. Live in the Bank Plus studios at Palazzo next. Palazzo coming up next.